Hi there, I'm James from Gear4music, and I'm here with Paul from Yamaha to talk about the two brand new redesigned pianos in Yamaha's legendary P series. Now, as you've seen in our other videos, we've got the P145 and the 225, and we've looked at all the specs and the sounds in each of these. But Paul, why would someone want to choose one over the other?
You know what, great question, James. And, you know, before we start, we're surrounded by legends. You know, we have the P145 here and we have the P225 here. So, great question. Why would someone buy this instrument as opposed to this instrument? Well, there are some differences, of course. P145, ideal for a complete beginner, someone just getting into piano playing, you know, never played piano before, just want to, you know, test the water, see how they're getting on. It's an instrument that's jam-packed with features, but they're the features that are important for a beginner. If you move across to the P225, then you get all of these exceptional features, but then we start to move further with other features. So features that are for someone who's a little bit more advanced. In fact, I say a little bit more advanced. We've got players using these instruments that will, you know, that they're going out gigging. So two very similar instruments, but also two very different instruments. Let's take a deeper dive into some of the differences. Sure.
So starting off with the basics, they look very different as well.
Yes, I mean the chassis design, the cabinet design is different. The design of the instrument is very smooth, it's very clean, and both of the instruments are smaller in design than their predecessors because, of course, our customers asked for smaller cabinets because, of course, they need to carry them. So we've got smaller chassis, they're not as wide, they're not as long, and you know what, James? They're both lighter.
Fantastic, so, great for carrying them out, gigging, busking.
Spot on, easy to carry, nice and manoeuvrable, nice and portable. The P225 has a slightly different design. You can see that there's, it's reminiscent of a grand piano, the front of a grand piano. And that's actually where the design was taken from. So again, very sleek lines, looks great. Part of the reason why this is designed in this way is the speaker system is different in the 225. So you have a two-way speaker system in the 225 as opposed to a one-way speaker system in the P145. So this is, again, part of the reason why the design of the cabinet is slightly different. Speakers on the back, of course, on both instruments. So if you put them up against a wall, they're going to sound great. But let's dive into the differences in the instrument itself. Before we get to the differences, let's have a look at something that's the same, and that's the action. And for those people who don't know what an action is, it's the mechanics of how the keyboard actually works. Well, we have a new action in both instruments because, of course, they're smaller, so we redesigned the action, and this is called GHC. This is Graded Hammer Compact. So they both have the same action. They're graded, as we said, so they're heavier at the bottom and they get progressively lighter as you move up the instrument. So that's the same, but that's where the similarity stops. If we were to talk about sound, which is, of course, another very important point. What do they sound like? Well, there is a very different sound in the P225 than the P145. In the 145, we have the wonderful sound of the CF3S concert grand with damper resonance.
Beautiful piano.
Stunning piano. However, when we move across to the 225, we have an even better concert grand. In fact, it's Yamaha's, talk of legends, the legendary CFX concert grand, which is the best of the best. That is the piano that's sampled and recorded and placed in the 225. And not only do you have the damper resonance as well, you also have what we call VRM Light. It's a Yamaha technology. It's called Virtual Resonance Modeling Light. And what that means is the whole of the body of the instrument has been recorded and placed inside the instrument. So when you're playing the grand piano, the net result is it sounds like a grand piano, it reacts like a grand piano.
Got all those resonances and different articulations and mechanical movements going on.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. So two very different sounds on board the 145 and the 225. So if someone's looking for the very best piano sound, 225 is the way to go. Now, of course, we've also got other voices on board both instruments. The P145 has got 10 voices in total, but on board the 225 we have 24 voices in total, which, you know, for anyone wanting to explore, or maybe they're recording in a studio and they want some other voices to mix into the mix of their recording, of course there's other voices available in the 225. You've also got layered voices on both of the instruments, so that's a similarity between them, so you can mix sounds together. You have one level of sound boost on board the 145, but on the 225 you actually have 2 levels of sound boost.
And that just gives the sound that little extra push.
It does, as it says on the tin, it boosts that sound. Of course, we've got different types of reverb on both instruments. We have, as we've talked about, a one-way speaker system and a two-way speaker system on the 225, which, again, it delivers a completely different sound, a different experience. So you've got a much better sound quality on the 225 as to the P145.
And you've got features such as Metronome on both. You've got a 2-track recorder. Yep. On the 225?
Absolutely. So, of course, Metronome on both, but in addition to the Metronome, on the 225, we have rhythms. I get quite excited about that bit. We got drums, James. You got rhythms on board with that bass player, the bass player that will actually follow what you play. Of course, you lose that on the 145. You don't have that. So rhythms, bass player on the 225, and you mentioned recorder. Yes, we have a 2-track recorder already built into the 225, which again you lose on the 145. You've also got intelligent acoustic control, which adjusts the sound depending on the sound, the level or the volume that you have the instrument set. So it's always going to sound just perfect.
And of course, you have Bluetooth connectivity with the 225.
Yeah, of course. Just connect your wireless device, connect it directly to the instrument, and off you go. You can play whatever music through the speakers of the 225.
And jam along.
Jam along if you want, which
Fantastic.
is a great feature.
And of course, both instruments come with different accessories. The stands and the pedal units, are they different?
Yes, indeed they are. So the P145, the optional accessories are the stand, the L100 stand, and you also have a 3-pedal unit that you can add if you wish. The P225 has a different stand. It's the L200 stand and a different set of pedals, which is, again, a 3-pedal unit, but it's a different set of pedals. So check with Gear4music which stand is appropriate when you buy, whether you buy a P145 or a 225.
Lovely. So in summary, the 145 probably slightly better for a complete beginner, and then the 225, someone who's looking to kind of move forward a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both instruments are ideal for beginners. But the P145 lends itself to a total beginner or someone who's coming back into playing. Maybe they used to play a few years ago and thought, you know what, let's get back into it. Because it's the basic necessities. So you don't have the bells and the whistles. You have all of the stuff that you need to start playing the piano. Move to the 225 and you've got everything that the 145 has got, but everything steps up, everything gets better. So you have a better piano sound, you have more functionality, and it has the functions that you would probably want and need as someone who's moving forward in their playing. Whether you're doing it for fun or whether you're doing it academically, you know, the P225 will start to take you on a musical journey. But great instruments, and you know what? As we said at the beginning, true legends. We're surrounded by them. Of
course, and they really, really do live up to the name of the P series, moving up to that next level.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, Paul, thank you very, very much for coming in. It's been wonderful having you.
More than welcome.
And of course, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for more. We'll be back soon. See you next time.